It's Thursday night. It's 9 p.m. +1 GMT. Where else would you be except here with me and Scott, the Highbrarians, highbrow, Highbury banter, old school. How you doing, Scott, all the way in New Zealand?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you today?
Well, yeah, listen, I'm good. I'm good because I'm an old school Arsenal fan, right? So all of this chat about how we didn't play well enough yesterday, and I don't even know what everyone's talking about. I was like, 1-0 to the Arsenal. What do you want?
Mate, I've seen a lot of reactionary stuff about the 1-0 victory, and I'm just like, sadly, I have to just take it and say, well, a victory's a victory.
Yeah, listen, do you know what? It cracks me up because before the match, honestly, I'm sitting there with my pad out. We've got like a quarter of the squad's injured, and I'm trying to work out who he's going to play. I mean, I had no idea he was going to play yesterday, but the people are already saying we've got to take this competition seriously because we're not going to win the league. And you go, right, well, we can take it seriously. And then what? And then lose another couple of players. And then we're playing Bournemouth with the team that we would have put out in this one, which wasn't taking this competition seriously enough. Or we have to play the squad. We have to rotate. And I think he did a great job. I think, listen, first of all, Brentford are a top of the table Premier League side. They made 2 changes from the side they had out in the Premier League. We beat them 1-0. I will accept that it wasn't our greatest performance. And if Wissa had anything about him at all up front, we probably would have lost 3-1. But we didn't. And we move on. And this, I think, listen, see what you think about this. Because I think it's a lot of people who don't remember what it's like winning. Obviously they don't remember the George Graham era where this was not a bad performance. You know what I mean? And it's worth mentioning there's only one Arsenal manager who ever has won the League Cup. So, the days of the unglamorous Arsenal going away to league, this is what we did. But they sort of have it in their head that you've got to win every game like we did against PSV, that we've got to be the best there is. Oh, we've got to... Hello there, old school gunner.
Hello,
You're
mate.
in the right place, aren't you?
This is my mate, old school gunner. He's got a channel as well, Dan.
Right, cool. Well, now you know, people. Click on Old School Gunners. Well, just pop your link in the old comments, and we'll flash it up, and then the viewing millions will be able to enjoy your content as well. Welcome aboard.
The mad Irish chap.
Brilliant. Well, listen, I'm always surprised when Irish people aren't supporting Arsenal. Remember the famous days where our entire team was made up of Irishmen?
Yeah,
Stapleton, like Jennings. I don't talk about Jennings that much, but welcome.
David O'Leary.
David O'Leary. I think isn't he still our record appearance?
No, I think
Liam Brady, Chippy Brady. I always talk about Chippy Brady because he always drives me mental. Because I started going to Highbury just after Chippy Brady left, and he was Chippy Brady. I was like, he left us for Juve. Just let it go. Still one of the best sevens ever.
Yeah,
I met Pat Jennings. Well, when he was with us, or when he was with the Scummers.
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? I think.
It's funny,
I think the game, what we saw with the lineup, I expected that lineup. That kind of.
You expected Charles Sego Jr.
No,
no, you didn't. See, honestly,
no.
I thought I was well up on the youth team. I thought I was totally informed. And then I was like, "What? Is he the first ever junior to play for? Is he the first ever junior to play for Arsenal? Have we had a junior before? I don't remember anyone being junior.
What was Nari? Is he classed as a junior? Ethan.
Who? Wanyeri?
Yeah,
he's not a junior. No, not. I mean, like his name is Charles Sago Jr.
Oh, a junior. Yeah, he would be the first, wouldn't he?
Well, I can't remember anyone else. I don't think we've ever had a junior or like the Americans always are like Victor Chandler III. All that stuff. I'm having trouble keeping up with you, old school. Brady is a gentleman. I have no doubt. Although it's his fault that we didn't sign, according to his own testimony, it's his fault we didn't sign Kane, which makes me love him even more. I met him after he stopped playing. He was working as a sales rep. Was he?
What?
That's not right, is it? That's not right.
It's not, is it?
That's not right.
Yeah, you can imagine.
What was he selling? And apparently he called into his place of work. I want to know what he was selling. What was he selling? Was he selling Harry Kane?
You could imagine going into a furniture shop, couldn't you? And there's Liam Brady selling you a couch or something.
I'd buy it. Sure enough.
Jennings.
What's Jennings? Yeah, I would buy. Jennings.
What's Jennings?
Don't know.
No, I don't know what that's.
But yeah, so Charles Sego Jr. didn't see that one coming. I was chuffed that Emil started. Thought Nelson would start. I think. Listen, all that for everybody saying, "Oh, we've got to take this proper seriously." We've got a tiny squad, in my opinion. I mean, you couldn't even rest all of our defenders if you wanted to. We've only got 7, and one of them's injured for the season. So we're going to be and everywhere you look throughout the Jennings was the sales rep. Beg your pardon.
Oh, Pat Jennings.
Yeah, well, selling gloves. Wherever you looked, if you wanted to, you look throughout Europe. There are so many injuries all over the place, and you can't convince me of anything except that these guys are playing too much football. And last season, Mikel Arteta, I gave him some flack for sticking with players where you need to rest them every now and again. People get Ben White. I thought looked tired yesterday.
He lacked intensity, didn't he? He wasn't. Oh, not really. It was not going up and down the wings like he does. He just didn't seem quite on it. I was happy with Kyrgios's performance, and I thought Tommy for me was probably the man of the match.
No, I gave it to Jorginho. Standout performance for me. I think it's one of those ones. The only concern I'm starting to develop this season is that we don't seem to control the midfield at all anymore. When Partey first came in, he was the first player we had that was like that fulcrum between the left and the right. And I thought that Jorginho did that really well. So it didn't matter so much, but we still don't have that presence. I've seen, we're very congested on the wings. We get pushed into the wings and it's just not quite popping off at the moment. But overall, listen, you and I both took a bit of a hit off that bloke on the Facebook page. You said, what game were we watching? And I was like, I was watching. What do you mean? What an annoying thing to say, by the way. You go, what game were you watching? I was like, the one with all the Arsenal lads and the Brentford lad. What the hell what do you see? Oh, I was watching. Of course, I was watching the Arsenal game. I was watching the game Jorginho played in, right?
Yeah. Now, I thought Jorginho, he played well, and I have actually always been impressed with the way that Jorginho has always spreaded the ball. He's a great passer of the ball, isn't he?
God, he's monster for touches. He got 107 touches last night.
If my only concern with Jorginho is probably nowadays is his speed, and he can get dispossessed, and it's always because he's not quite aware that there's a player right on him.
Yeah, I get all that. I'm not. Listen, I think he's Declan Rice or Caicedo? No, but do I think that it's like when people give El Neni a hard time? You think that he's not a starting player. We need players like this, though. I was a bit gutted, if I'm honest, and it is so typical of Arteta, isn't it? Because we're not 5-0 up, he won't bring on Cozy Dewberry. I think there was a case for it. I really did. I think. I would have liked to have seen, and the other one that I was expecting to see and didn't see because it was his birthday on Tuesday, Miles Lewis Skelly, and I thought, we'll play him because it was his birthday, and I suddenly thought, that's not really a good reason to play someone for Arsenal, is it? Oh, was it your birthday? I think
with a young lad on the wing, the junior lad, I think we got exactly what we expected. We'd get like a few little cameos, and then he would drift out of the game because I could see a few times he was well on for a pass and Ben White looked at him and just went the other way. He's kind of what you got. You expected a few good little moments, didn't you? And
and he had one dribble. He was a bit live. I mean, look, you're just blooding them, right? I mean, I will never know. I'm starting to accept now as I head ever so close to 50 orbits around the sun. I'm starting to accept I might never play for Arsenal at this point. And I know what you're going to say, never give up hope, but I'm starting to accept it.
It's them damn knees, Dan.
Do you know what? It's it's the total lack of ability. I'll be the first to admit it. I like the stamina and the talent and the quality and the everything. So, but I'll never know what it must feel like after years of praying for a start to go out, and you've got to be awestruck in your first game. I mean, you're a world superstar if you're coming out in your first game and smashing them. I mean, this is a great tournament for Blood in the youngsters. I think, I think we're not going to play Charles Sago Jr. in the Champions League.
No.
We might if it's a dead rubber. But and he's not going to play against Bournemouth. And I still think Arteta, I'm seeing improvement in loads of areas from Mikel Arteta, but I'd love to see him be a little bit less cautious when he's throwing on some of the academy players. But then he did a really good post-match interview where he's talking about how important it is to play him. And I thought, well, yeah, we all know that, but you're just not playing them, So maybe they're not quite ready yet. I know Nwaneri's 16. Miles Lewis-Skelly's 17 on his birthday. So look, these are young players. I'm maybe a bit too young for this season. But for what the one that I thought would probably play was Raul Waters, and he didn't. But we're through. Like 1-0 away to Brentford. When we drew them, when they came out of the hat, I was like, oh God, really? We'll lose to these.
And people can say whatever they want. Brentford beat Man City twice last year.
Yeah. I mean, I know there were, and actually, it probably takes us to another talking point that we should cover this week. Ivan Toney.
Yeah, because we don't agree. We
don't
agree on that one.
No, I don't agree with it. And I saw a report today that Arteta doesn't rate him either. That he's had issues with him. So I think it's going to have to be Victor Osimhen for me.
Yeah, but can you really see it?
No, of course I can't see it. I can't see it. But I'd like listen. All right, okay. Moving away from Brentford, we will come back to it because I don't think we've talked it to death yet. And but Victor Osimhen, have you seen what's been going on with him in Napoli?
Something about a TikTok that they released or something.
Right. So they took a TikTok of him when he'd won a penalty for Napoli, and they've put this soundtrack to elevate. Please can I have the penalty? Please can I take the penalty? They've raised his voice really high, and it's a bit of banter, but they've put it on the club Twitter, and and to me it feels a little bit like he wants to leave anyway. I don't know if you saw this, but when he won an award last season, February I think it was. He won Best Foreign Sports Person in Italy. Accepting the award, he said, "Thank you. I've worked really hard. It's always been my dream to play in the Premier League in England." And I was like, what is a random thing? You don't do that.
Wow.
Thank you for this award being the best sportsman in Italy, but I can't wait to get the fuck out of it. I want to go and play in England where where the good teams are, So anyway, so he's obviously jumped on this, and they're talking about terminating contract. His agent's talking about suing Napoli. So he's not staying at Napoli.
No. But, with that comment, he's basically handed his transfer request in anyway, hasn't he?
Yeah. But whether that means, oh, look, I'm just going to put this up here now, Old School Gunner. Everybody watching, check this. Not right now, obviously, because we're on, and you wouldn't want to miss this. But Old School Gunner, I'll leave that link up there for a bit longer because I realized. Put it in the comments as well. That's the smart money move, because a lot of people watch this after it's live, which... hats off to you. Some of you may want to watch it more than once. I totally understand that. I know I will be. But yeah, so I think Osimhen's leaving. It sounds to me like a Chelsea move, this one, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think Chelsea's all over it. But what is your problem with Ivan Toney?
No, it's not a problem. I don't see it as a problem. I just think that I'm underwhelmed. I don't think he's the absolutely. I don't think he's the one. I think he's at the age he is.
27, is he?
Yeah, he's 27, nearly 28. Does he get into the City team or the Liverpool team, do you think?
Not who's there, I don't think.
No, I did that video this week about strikers that I think we're short in the world of strikers is not what it was. I mean, look what you know, I always say this, Man United spent on Hoyland, which is way over the odds, And Chelsea, and this is one of my favourite things I haven't done yet, but I've come up with, you know, Jackson at Chelsea.
Yeah.
After his 2 world-class misses, I call him Sorry Miss Jackson, because he's had a couple of sorry misses. But, like, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, like Chelsea, they've got all the money in the world, although they must be running out soon, and they need a striker. I don't see us.
Huh? I don't get all that money they've spent and they didn't buy a striker. That is just complete madness.
I know. Well, make it make sense, huh? Like all right. And Kunku and Jackson looked really good pre-season, and I had to put up with a lot of Chelsea talking about, oh, he's the one. Yeah?
He's not the one.
He's not the one. But I don't think Ivan Toney's the one. As to why I don't think he's the one, to be honest with you, it's like I've watched him a fair bit. I think part of it is still that I'm holding a grudge for his stupid kick about with the lads comment. I don't like it.
Yeah, but we got it back.
Don't care, don't like it. That's not the sort of thing you do. Do you know what I mean? That's not Arsenal level, but do you know what I mean? Like at Arsenal, I just don't see him as an Arteta type. And he's going to cost 60 or 70 million. And then what? He'll come in and he won't hit the ground. He's not. No, he's not for me. But listen, I've been wrong about once before.
You know, but what I see about Tony is I see he's physical, he's strong, his hold-up play is really good. He's got a great pass, great shot. Just everything about him for me, I just see him as the answer, I think.
I think he's Eddie Nketiah, but just 3 or 4 years older, that's all.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah, I don't see them. Sorry, I know that we're all a bit. I've got to say, coming back to the Brentford game, I was pleased with the reaction from Eddie because I was not happy after the derby. Like, you cannot just, and we have to talk about that as well, by the way.
But was you happy with Eddie's performance against Brentford?
I'm trying to think. I haven't been happy with any of his performances.
He runs, he runs around a lot. Can't knock him.
Listen, first of all, for me, the assist, it wasn't really an assist. I mean, it goes straight. I've forgotten the defender's name. It went straight to him, and I don't know how it's square. I do want to say this though. What do you reckon of this? I think, honestly, Nelson reminds me an awful lot of Michael Thomas because he's never flustered. He takes his sweet time. His finish was lovely. He's just totally unflappable. So I think it was a good goal. I thought Eddie played well. Listen, I was just pleased with his reaction. Do I think he played well against Brentford? Yeah. But I think even in saying that he played well against Brentford, I think you have to concede that it was a kind of huff and puff performance without that touch of class, you know? If he really, I think we're talking about Ivan Toney, we're talking about Victor Osimhen, we're talking about all these players for the solid reason that we all know now. It's not going to be Eddie. And in the video, I talked about the ones that always get mentioned when people talk about Arsenal, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I know you commented on that. It's like, where does that come from? I mean, he scores fewer goals than Eddie. Like, where's that coming from?
I think when the rumours of the DCL came about, I think it was because what we lacked up front was height, and I just see Dominic Calvert-Lewin as that height man. That if things are not happening, we can just play that old school slog the ball up. You know what I mean?
We have been doing that. We are pumping it up the field nowadays as well. Yeah. By the way, I don't know.
And that's what I think the reasonings for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And then, like you say, I think that's what Havertz is for as well, isn't he? Now that's he is. I mean, Havertz is for something. I'm not hating on Havertz, but I'm sick of defending him as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I know what you said in your video. We've got to come to. We know what he is capable of, but we've got to come to that realization that he doesn't look interested. Dan, you know, and I hate to slate him as well because he's one of our players and I want him to work out, but he's
Well,
slow.
I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying, like, we just stop talking about it because basically it takes time to bed into a new side, new surroundings, new everything. I would just say help him out a little bit. Don't play him. I think the game yesterday, he was unspectacular again. Not bad, not good. And I think give him time. And apart from anything, we've got to give him a bit of time anyway. So we're going to give him time, and there's no point discussing it beyond that. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin, nah, don't get it. Tammy Abraham, who Mourinho was trying to flog. Do you know what I mean? I was like,
he's dropped form, hasn't he?
Yeah, but I tell you, you want to talk about dropped form? Following Balogun.
He missed 2 penalties.
Two penalties. I mean, right, that was a shocking performance. A shocking performance from him. He got hooked, didn't he? I was not long. He got hooked on about the 60th, 70th minute or something. I just like, you know, first of all, he hasn't. I think that was his first start. Might have been his second start. So all this, you know, I think he's going to look like a total chump if it doesn't work out for him at Monaco.
To be honest, I always knew that Balogun wasn't the answer. As soon as you say, I want first team football, and that's pretty much it. It's almost like I don't want to work for it. I just want that. It's never going to work. And it just became so childish and naive, and he sealed his own fate.
Yeah, yeah, totally. But that is how it goes when you've got these young players who think they've arrived, and you know, could have kept his mouth. But listen, I understand it. He's joined the United States. He's the talismanic centre forward for the US men's national team. I think you and I would love to do I've got so much to say about the way football's about to change because of the United States World Cup. I mean, I tell you, just to give a sort of hint of what I'm talking about, the term assist didn't enter football until the last time the World Cup was played in the United States.
Yeah.
It is going to be, there are going to be big changes. And to be at the forefront of that, to be the lead striker for he needs game time and all that. And I can understand him wanting to move all of that, get it all. But
yeah,
it can go wrong quickly, and it's going wrong quickly at Monaco because not only did he miss 2 penalties, but they lost the game 1-0. So you're like, that's like, it's almost a derby, Monaco versus. For Monaco to lose a home game to Nice is not good news.
You know, no. And, we had all this talk about all these big clubs are coming in from blah, blah, blah. And then it goes to Monaco. You know, so to me, it's a lot of it is just complete yellow journalism, isn't it? There's no truth in any of it. And it's just...
I mean, football journalism. It's like, I mean, I could write this stuff. I mean, I do, but you know, I think the other ones I look... Go on.
I think the majority of it is actually their agents are just planting seeds.
Of course, yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, what else is it going to be? You know, you're hearing all this, they're really desperate to sign him. Chelsea are in for him. And you go like, where's all this money gone then? Why aren't Inter Milan? I called it from time. Like, Inter Milan are not paying 40 million quid for... It's just not it's not their bag, is it? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not... No. They're a proper... hardcore set of fans, and you turn up there and miss 2 penalties. That's pretty much the end of that story.
Have you noticed as well, all these Italian clubs, they buy cheap, but they sell high.
They don't buy cheap; they loan them. They're like, "Oh, we'll borrow him, and if it works out, we'll buy him." It's like, yeah, what are you on about? You know, mind you, we did it to Brentford with David Raya.
Yeah. And what I've seen, Kieran Tierney's not really hitting the.
He had a good game actually. He did have a good game. But I got so fed up with that. Was one of the ones where I did post a League Gunner thing because I was like, I'm sick of hearing him say that this is possibly the best left back in the world. If he's the best left back in the world, how comes there isn't Barcelona, Real Madrid, Inter Milan, AC Milan? How comes they're not knocking on the door? And then now you look at it. Yeah, he did play all right though. He started okay, but not setting the world alight. And he hasn't played any of the big clubs in Spain yet.
You know, and I completely get, that people are like, he's this great player. He's a traditional left back. Well, sadly, we don't play that way, and he doesn't fit the philosophy of the. No, but he doesn't fit the philosophy and the style that we are playing. And what is Arteta?
No, but I listen. Look, I do entirely agree. But this is my point. I do agree with that. He doesn't fit our system. But I also think, let's say we played with a traditional left back. I still don't think he's that good. I think we want him to be because he's got the short sleeves and the attitude. But I don't. He's not. I always say the same thing. I think I said this last week. I don't want to say it every week, but just try and cast your mind back. When was the last great game Kieran Tierney had? And if you're going to say West Brom, I'm agree with you, but then that's not enough. You know, Kai Havertz played. If Kai Havertz played as badly as Tierney's done for us, people would be hanging effigies of him. You know, we've got a lot of It's all about charisma with Arsenal fans. It seems. Oh, well, look, that's bullshit. It's not Arsenal fans. It's Arsenal fans that you hear most vocally on social media. You know, if you're Declan Rice and you've got a nice smile, you're a world beater, even if you don't play. I mean, the North London derby, Declan Rice, he was obviously carrying an injury. And what is going on with us, man? Like, Declan Rice missed one match in 4 years because of a stomach bug or something with West Ham. He's in our side for 25 minutes and he's already got the same, sounds like he's had the same injury that Saliba had. What are they training on? Cobbles?
And if you go back to the pre-season in America, he had the back issue there, didn't he?
Listen, I'm calling it. Arsene Wenger used to hate those pre-season commercial trips. I'm starting to hate them because I don't care about the commercial. Listen, do you know what I mean? Let's do all the commercial trips when we've won the Premier League or the Champions League. Right.
And to be honest, I'm not interested in watching football players on the pitch play little games. You know, like
I did quite. Oh, let's have a heated debate. I like it. I liked it. I mean, it was shit. I was hoping for better.
I must be a right miserable bastard then, mate.
You're a Grinch.
I don't want to see it.
No, well, if it's that, or I would quite like us to do for the pre-season next season. I'd quite like us to go to the mountains and just do it behind closed doors. It's supposed to be fitness, and I'd also quite like to see somebody. Either we need bigger squad sizes, which is obviously a huge disadvantage to the less well-off teams, or we all need to have a long, hard head scratch about how many games we're playing because it's too many, man. It's too many. It's too many for the fans to buying tickets. It's too many for the people. Watching it on television, you know, obviously I'll watch us play any match, but you go like it's every 3 days. You know, we've got this. You know, we're playing on Saturday 3:00, then Tuesday, then Sunday. You know, come on, like we've got 6 defenders. We're going to play 60 games. Let's everyone just figure this out for a second. What's going to happen? You know, are we going to see the best of them? And then people will tell you, well, they used to do that in the 80s. And I go, yeah, I remember the football as well. Wasn't this, you know? Wasn't.
The thing is, Timber is one hell of a miss for us, isn't he? He kind of messed everything up.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, big time. Big time. And because you go into the season thinking you're going to play one sort of one style of football, and now you've got furious. And I think Arteta has used the start of the season to experiment. Maybe that's going to bite him on the arse because we haven't found our form yet. And confidence is so important, you know.
But with Timber, I know, like, you know, he predominantly was a centre back, and then they said they kind of brought him in to compete on the right with Ben White.
I didn't. He caught us all off guard, didn't he? Because he's brought him in, going, oh, he can play on the right and in the centre back, and then he plays him on the left, and he's amazing. And
he played amazing. He was just, you know, you know, I'd hate to go back to the Harvards thing, but he came in and looked like he'd been playing for us for years. But some players do, they hit it off, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, there's I can make a case for that. I think if you're playing at Ajax, although Ajax at the moment, did you see Van Basten saying they should just stop playing football in Holland? Can you imagine?
Really?
He's just saying, yeah, we've got to stop it. It's just, I think it was him. Maybe I'm misquoting Van Basten. Yeah, one of them, I think it was Van Basten, because they obviously had that. They've got the hooliganism problem that, you know, we arguably had in the 80s. One of our best exports. But, I mean, to come from a team like Ajax where you're on top of your game, you're playing well, and then you get your big move. For Kai Havertz, he would have been hoping that move was Chelsea. He had a torrid 3 years.
Yeah.
And I think I think we tend to feel like we know people because we watch them a lot. And so I'm not doing that. But I'm saying I think a lot of people look at Kai Havertz and they feel like they know him and that he just doesn't look interested. I think I've worked a lot with people who, and I've learned over the years that what somebody shows you or what they appear to be is not what they are. They're usually the exact opposite of that. You meet someone who's really full of themselves and they're usually hiding an insecurity. And the guys that are, he just looks uninterested. He doesn't play with a smile on his face, but then, I think if he did, people would love him more. But Timber, on the other hand, he's got nothing to lose, has he? He's coming
Good-looking lad.
Yeah, handsome young man, obviously very, very good at what he does. But we never had a chance to see him make the mistakes. A lot of Ajax fans were talking about this. They're saying, no, he's a great player, but he has got a mistake in him. And we haven't seen that. So.
Yeah. But, yeah, and I think that completely messed us up. And, we left it too late. We were never going to buy another player. We'd spent so much money, hadn't we? And I get
we
it,
had,
and I see these fans online, they're just going, just buy this player. It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. And it shouldn't do either. And I think listen, I'm doing a video later, and one of the things I talk about is what point do people just go, do you know what, I trust Arteta a little bit? Because what's the last dud signing that we've done? I mean, if you say you could say Tavares and Sambi Lokonga, but we're going to make profit on selling them. So that's all right.
Yeah. Well, on a business aspect, that's good then. If we sadly,
if the players who don't work out, you sell for more than you paid for them, you can't argue with that.
No, because at the end of the day, this is what a lot of people do struggle with. Yes, we love it, beautiful game for the fans and everything like that, but it's a business, isn't it? At the end of the day,
well. It is, and that's an uncomfortable truth, and it's frustrating. And some clubs are absolutely run as businesses, and now again, this ties into the thing I want to do a feature about, which is why it is that so many American clubs are investing in the Premier League, what they can see coming. Apple's investment in the MLS, the rise in prices of buying an MLS club. There is so much to be said for the world's largest consumer of everything except football is the United States. If they come into the football game, and football is now a faster growing sport, it's now overtaken hockey in the under 18s category. Todd Bowley talked about this. He said, if you look at it, a 3 o'clock kickoff in England is 9 a.m. in the United States on a Saturday morning, prime time children. If you want to sell things, advertisers want that market.
Yeah.
Well, bang. It's I can't remember the exact business phrase for time sensitive entertainment, because it has to be at that time limited entertainment or something. It's like this perfect thing that you can produce it and sell it out, and it can't be like Netflix. You can binge watch an entire series. You can't binge watch an entire season of football. So if you own the rights to Premier League football, you've got 38 games over a season that you can. It's the World Cup in the United States is going to bring some huge changes to football. Huge.
I think 10 teams now in the Premier League are American owned.
Yeah. You can laugh at Ted Bowley all you like. His job is not to win things with Chelsea. It's to keep Chelsea's profile sufficiently high that during the World Cup they can gain a share of the market. We're not doing tours of the United States playing the MLS teams because we fancied it. We're doing it because that's where the money is. The market is the United States, and it is big, and it's bigger than people have any idea about. It is huge.
I don't see the pre-season tours of America stopping.
And the more worrying fact is I think we're not that far away with this many American owners. We're not that far away from seeing the first Premier League game played in foreign shores. Because, Everton playing Chelsea in New York is definitely possible.
And if you see how much the tickets were going for them games, I think the cheapest was $600. And some of them tickets were going to $2,000.
I mean, you just think about it from that point of view of what does America consume? I mean, I've got to say hello to Chalkers, one of my favourites. Hello, good to see you. Thanks for joining in. We are just in the middle of talking about the way that American money is going to change the sport of soccer, of Premier League soccer.
But I don't have any issues with American people owning our football teams. I have an issue if they get rid of the traditionalness, as in they don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think listen, this is one of the things, it's like parents, isn't it? Like, you don't choose your owners. I mean, you get good ones, you get bad ones, right? And if you've got bad ones, like, what makes me laugh is that all my life growing up as an Arsenal, I don't know, like the Hill Woods.
Yeah.
What did we ever talk about them? We never talked about them.
No.
Like, never. Guy smoking a cigar. My favourite Hillwood quote is when David Dean turned to him and said, "Look, I can't tell if Charlie Nicholas is left-footed or right-footed," and he just went, "We paid for both." So it's like,
I think that's one of them things that Sam Allardyce actually said. Was it Sam Allardyce? Where he basically said, "I got this goal, this striker," and he says, "I want a goal bonus." And it's like, well, what am I paying you for? That you're a striker.
Do you know what? You've just brought me to a point. You know, like I love reading the odd football book. This one is a game changer. I've just finished it, and I'm reading it twice. Unbelievably good, but it charts how football became a game of data. It's called Expected Goals by Rory Smith. And one of the fascinating chapters about it is just how ahead of the curve Sam Allardyce was using data.
He brought data into the game more than anybody.
I know. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I just hit and lump merchant. No, he was totally on it. He was like, because he spent time in the States. And so I will put a link in. I'm doing a book review of this one. Expected Goals by Rory Smith. Absolutely loved it. Brilliant.
Who is Rory Smith then? Just
God knows. But I really couldn't tell you. But he's written this book, and it basically charts the journey of the guys that first got into, because this is a really pressing thing at the moment, and this feeds into the comment. You know, when we're on a Facebook, and the guy said yesterday, "What game are you watching?" And I believe very much in statistics and data. I've been a sales manager, and if you can't measure it, you can't hit it, you can't target it. All of this. Yeah, I watch football with my eyes. Right. Well, imagine you're watching the game with your eyes. Just count how many times one of the players makes a pass that's really good. You know, that's all you're doing, and you'll be surprised.
I'm not a fool to not realise that stats are fact based, aren't they? At the end of the day, but where my concern is with that, where they'll say they've made a progressive pass or whatever, does that mean they've passed 2 foot in front of them to somebody else? Or
no,
does it mean
no. It's really fast. No, it's really fascinating, because it's listen, you'd have to read the book. I'm going to murder it, but basically, there are teams of people that they're called taggers, and they're usually doing it in the Philippines or places where it's very cheap to employ people. And what they're measuring is when you get the ball. They have metrics for measuring, and it's not entirely objective. So there's some subjectivity in it, but they're measuring how much pressure you're under, and how many players between you and the goal, and how many players between you and where you put the ball. And so there's hundreds of different metrics that they put together to analyze a game and assign, now, obviously, because football is an invasional sport, so it's not as easy as baseball. There's too many things going on. But ultimately, what makes me laugh is, people turn on the television and trust the weather forecast. The weather forecast is taking data from millions of different points to try and analyze, to predict in the future what's going to happen. And it's very difficult to do it accurately, because there's so many changeable, variable data points.
That's the same with the stock market as well, when they say the stock is going to drop.
So why do you think so many? So this is what's fascinating. Why so many brokerages and investment firms getting into football? They're using the same analytical data to make decisions about clubs. Brentford, Brighton, and Midland are all doing this, and look at the success. Anyway, I mean, all I'm going to say is.
But it's like with Manchester United. It's like their stock dropped. I know, we'll sign Ronaldo. We've just made 800 million in a day, and our stock's just gone.
And that's the Todd Bowley mechanics. And Todd Bowley's going, if we've got enough players on FIFA, if we're the best team to play on FIFA, people are going to choose to play us on FIFA. Now, they'll choose to play us on FIFA and complain about the fact that we're not good enough in real life. But as long as Chelsea can maintain a reasonable profile, obviously European football is going to be part of that. But I like this comment from Chalkers. Yep, clubs could be playing a whole tournament in USA, League Cup done in 3 weeks over there as a mid-season interruption. Is this bad? I don't even hate that idea.
I hate
not it. Oh, you do? Okay. All right. Talk me down, because I'm high on the innovation of it all. I'm high on the idea of it. What's bad about it?
I think I'm going back to that Netflix TV series. You know, The English Game. Where have you ever seen it?
Oh, I've lost you. I don't know if it's you or me.
Can you hear me?
Say that again. Yeah, I can now, but I lost you just to the Netflix TV series.
I'm thinking back to that Netflix TV show, the English Game. I don't know if you've seen that, and it's about the history of the FA Cup and how it started and things like that. It's a TV show.
No, God, no, I haven't seen it.
Good, but the emphasis on that is that football was for the working class, and and they basically in the FA Cup it was the old Etonians playing, and they were like, oh, we don't want to share it with the working class and things like that. But it became our game, and I just think taking it to America, I think it's a real kick in the teeth.
That ship sailed, Scott. Listen, I'm a gooner. I was North London, walking distance from the stadium, turn up, stand in the North Bank, all my mates from school, people I knew from football. Part of what appealed to me was it was work. It was my people, like that. I remember being on a train. I took my mate, who was a Chelsea fan. Don't ask. I have friends who support other teams. Sometimes you can't save them, right? And he never used to go, so I bought him a ticket. We went to see Real Betis in the Cup Winners' Cup one year. I forget the year; might have been the year they won it. Actually, it's '96. But and on the train, and it was really funny because a European game, right? And there's these 4 Chelsea guys, all suited, obviously, going, oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great night, and they were talking about how much. And this is back in I paid 20 quid for the ticket, and they were going, yeah, these tickets are 100 quid, and I was like, what? And I was like, excuse me, look. Eavesdropping, you really paid 100 quid for your ticket? And he went, yeah. And I said, what'd you get for that? Are you in a box or something? I went, no, not in a box, but you do get all your halftime refreshments. So and I was like, oh yeah. I was thinking, all right, beer and champagne and stuff. And it's only when I got to the ground I remembered there's no booze at European. So they paid, so I've got to just quickly, this is cracked me up. Chalkers is gone. Imagine a whole line of Gunnosauruses as cheerleaders.
Oh god.
Yes. Yes, let's do that.
I'm already getting PTSD.
But no, it's been so from those moments. Sorry to try. From those moments, the working classness of football went out of it with the hooliganism, right? A whole generation of people were kept away. Family people, good people who wanted to take their young kids to see a game, couldn't go and see it because there was an awful. Not at Arsenal, we never really had that problem, but. Certainly me going to Chelsea in the 90s, I didn't fancy it. You had the old run-in with...
They were called the Headhunters, weren't they?
Well, no, I worked with someone who was a fairly prominent member of the Headhunters, and he was an absolutely... If any reason he ever watches this, he was one of my favourite people of all time, and I love him still dearly. He was scary as fuck, man. But I went to a game, we played Liverpool... And I went to Liverpool, and it was an early kickoff, and 2 or 3 of the guys I knew from the Headhunters were at the game, and we weren't playing Chelsea, we were playing Liverpool. I was like, what the fuck are you lot all doing here? And he goes, yeah, we're not here for the football. And of course, Finsbury Park Mosque, they were there for that. Yeah. And it's just a really, really...
It was a horrible time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a horrible time. And look, do I want to see fences back? No. I look at what's happening in Holland with Ajax, and I just think, I don't miss those days at all. I don't miss the Luton riots. I don't miss, I don't miss the threat of violence in the terraces. But then, to be fair, I only saw it at other grounds. At Arsenal, we've never really. I know we've had the Herd and we've had the Gooners and whatever, and EIE. And I know we've had a bit of but we've never had a firm. I don't think we've ever been. I think anyway. Not that that's a good or bad thing. I have nothing to say about football. I like Football Factory. It's one of my favourite films, but I'd rather it was just in the films.
Has that's got Danny Dyer in it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Danny Dyer.
No, I love him. Do you know what I mean? I love it. I love all that kind of. But it's all a bit plastic, isn't it? It's all a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the matches would be played in segments to fit TV ads in. I watched. Do you remember the game we played, Man United, Thierry Henry? I was in New York for that. It's like a 9 o'clock kickoff. It was exactly what I'm talking about. And I shit you not, we're watching it, and on pops an advert, and I was like, "What? Whoa!" It's just an advert.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm trying to get my head around it. They came back from the advert. I don't know if they were able to come back quickly because the adverts went on like it was a normal advert. And when they came back, Thierry Henry's just volleyed that goal in. And I'm like, no, I didn't miss it. I just caught it. But I was like, are you kidding me? You can't put an advert in the middle of football. He goes, well, what are you going to miss? Because my friend John was like, I don't really like this. This is a very slow sport. I'm used to basketball where it goes bang, 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 bang. This is like what? It's been like 20 minutes and no one scored yet. Is this normal? And I'm like, yeah, this is kind of normal, yeah.
It's like, so no, I have no issue with American owners, but I have an issue if the game kind of moves. I don't like the idea of that America thing.
I would summarize it best, in my opinion. I would summarize my opinion best by saying that aren't there enough people who like football already? Are we really trying to find a way to make everyone in the world enjoy football? Like, isn't 2 billion people enough? Like, can we not just go, right, that's the game, don't change it? I mean, because I'll tell you what was the other thing about the game yesterday, watching us take on Brentford. No VAR. I was like, it's like PTSD. It takes time to readjust to going, we can celebrate a goal. It's gone in. It's in. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do we have to wait 5 minutes for someone in a box to wake up and go, yeah, that's probably a goal.
The thing is, with VAR, it does work. It's human errors.
Oh, of course it works. It works in the same way that a referee works. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just a referee and gets to look at it 20 times. Some things you and I could I think fans of the same club tend to agree on things. But you can watch something 100 times over and go, it's a penalty, it's not a penalty. I felt like, I was talking to Sean about this earlier in the week, for the North London derby, the penalty we got, I wouldn't have liked to have seen that given against us. I don't like those penalties where the ball goes flying at someone's hand and then they try and work out if it's a natural or unnatural position. To be clear, if it's still attached to the person, that's a natural position. And for him to have I'm going all the way back now to 1998 when Chile played, I think it was Italy in the World Cup, and their defender was standing on the edge of the box with his hands by his side, and the Italian kicked it straight at him, and they got a penalty for it. And I was angry then, and I'd be just as angry whenever anyone gets a penalty.
The way I see it is, was it a handball? 100%. Was it intentional? Not at all. But sadly, you have to realise as well that did prevent a goal.
I totally get it. That used to, I feel like we went away from had to be hand to ball rather than ball to hand.
Yeah.
Right? That's all I'm saying. It's like, is there any intention to put his hand between? No, you can't. Even if he was a ninja, he couldn't move his hand quickly enough. We're going to get these all over the place. They've obviously made a decision that the silhouette of the arm has to be. I get it. All right, it's a penalty. If they're the rules at the start of the season, they're the rules. I can live with that. It's where it's open to interpretation. The big one for me has to be the penalty, the goal we had chalked off, Martinelli's goal against Everton, where he goes,
bring that one up
because it wasn't his intention to kick the ball. So I'll tell you what, then, like, if you have to explain to a professional footballer that when you stick your foot out, you might hit the ball.
Yeah,
rewind that all the way back to his first football match and go, so this is the ball and that's your foot, and when one meets the other at pace, guess what happens? So it's stupid, but
I actually watched I watched the gentleman's video regarding that Martinelli goal.
Sounded a bit dodgy. I watched the gentleman's video.
Yeah. And basically he brought up the rule book, and the rule book actually stipulated that would have been a goal.
Oh, mate. Do you know, sometimes I just want to have a nap when I don't need, do you know what I mean? Like there are rules and then there are rules. And if it's this diffuse and if no one's ever heard of it before, look, I get that in football, there are going to be times where things happen and you wish they hadn't happened, and it's going to be opinion based, and it's always been that way, and I don't mind. But I think we have arrived at a situation where VAR needs a bit of work, because who was going, oh, League Cup's going to be shit without VAR? Everyone I've heard so far has been like, oh, it's quite nice to have a good day off of it. Because you're sitting there going, every match, going to North London Derby, I posted, please let this be the last VAR decision we watched. I hate talking about VAR decisions. I hate it. When are we going to stand at the North Bank and Clock End, get that bloke back who sold peanuts at halftime, or the marching bands? Do you remember? I remember marching bands like St John Ambulance at halftime. It's just shit. I don't remember being able to buy booze. Maybe I was too young, but yeah, it's all got a bit razzmatazz. But
hey, just going back to the Brentford game,
yeah,
I thought Reece Nelson was brilliant.
I wouldn't say brilliant. I wouldn't say brilliant.
Yeah, but maybe I'm overstretching there. But what I mean is his work rate. He tracks back. When he's got the ball.
I'd see that's what I wasn't seeing. But I said to you earlier, he reminds me of Michael Thomas, and I think that's a good thing. That's high praise. I think he's the kind of player that doesn't get flustered. I mean, obviously that goal at Bournemouth, at home to Bournemouth, that he will now is a legendary status for. It's the whole reason he got a contract. But I think what you see when he scores that is the whole place goes mental, and he's like, I've just scored a goal. Like, what's everyone? And he's actually running away from everyone going, I love him. I love his temperament.
He's kind of deadpan, isn't he? You know,
I love him. I love his temperament. I want us. I thought that one of the things that really stood out to me about the North London Derby is we came out there with our dander up. We wanted it. It was all like, and I think Big Ange had them all kind of like, you know, they were calm and collected. And there's a point where I think you're going to see an evolution in Arteta where he was doing it yesterday. He sat down. There was a part of yesterday's match, I don't know if you saw it, but he actually went and sat down. Him and Thomas Frank both went and sat down at the same time. I was like, yeah, do that. Just sit down for a bit.
Yeah. Because he probably rocks himself up. Oh, I think, but what I did see with Nelson was when he was substituted, he was not happy. Did you see that?
No, I don't remember. I didn't see that. But
I think what's going through.
That was quite boring at that point in the game, though, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't a good game to watch.
What I think there is Nelson. What's probably going through Nelson's mind is I hardly play, and I'm having a pretty good game, and I get substitute. What have I got to do to actually get 90 minutes?
He'd be an absolute wally for thinking that, because the fact I think is that we're not going to see Martinelli or Trossard play against Bournemouth. So I would take being hooked by Arteta yesterday's game as a sign that you might be getting a game against
playing again. Yeah. What did you think of Smith Rowe?
Don't he's the Croydon De Bruyne. He's up. Do you know what? Like, I thought if only he put a bit of welly on that shot and it had gone in. I just want him to do well so bad. I would quite like to see, because I was looking at it going, where is he going to play him? Is he going to play him? Is he going to move Havertz into the Odegaard position? He didn't. He played him instead of Odegaard. Yeah. And I thought he looked good, but I still want to see him play from slightly further back.
I thought for about 15, 20 minutes, he looked bright. You know, he looked like he was trying to break lines and make, and he was always available for a pass. But
yeah, I mean, listen, I cannot speak highly enough of Emile Smith Rowe. He is probably, I'd say, Saka, Odegaard, two favourite players. I mean, I love the whole squad. There's no one I don't love. And
I think it was pretty adamant, his lack of game time. You know, that the wind, he was knackered, wasn't he?
But why? Why is he knackered? Like, I mean, why? Why is he knackered? Tell me why he's knackered. Like, I can be knackered, and Emile Smith Rowe can't be knackered. He's like, why is he knackered? He's a professional athlete, for Christ's sake.
And what I see of that is, Smith Rowe got about 65, 70 minutes. And now what's going to happen is he's going to go back to the bench and he's probably going to get 4 or 5 minutes in the next 3 or 4 games.
But listen to Arteta talk about it. He picked up an injury in that match.
Smith Rowe?
He picked up a knock. Yeah, he was struggling.
So basically, we're basically...
How's your luck? Yeah, plays one start every 500 days and he gets a knock, and you might not see him again till Christmas. Listen,
is that what, till Christmas?
I'm joking. No, that was a joke. That's my strange Hibernian sense of humour.
Do you think he has the potential? Well, the potential to be the next.
No, he's world class. He's world class. He's amazing. He's, in my money, he's Emil. Here we go. Chalkers absolutely nailed it here. Needs a statue. Probably not going to agree with you on Bury Havertz underneath it, but that's a sort of running joke with me and Chalkers. He's got a patio with about 50 people under it that we don't like anymore. The Highbury Stadium mystery.
Fred West had a patio as well, but let's not go there.
Again, we're getting a wee bit dark now.
Yeah, you were.
No, listen. Emil Smith Rowe. I refuse to be objective about him. If I'm manifesting it, he is going to score the winning goal in the Champions League for us by picking up the ball and running at defenders. Because do you remember when people used to do that at Arsenal? Yeah. I like that side of football. That's football I enjoy. I enjoy it when someone goes, oh, I've got the ball here and I'm going to take it over there. I'm not going to give it to the guy that gives it to the guy that puts it over there for me to get. I'm just going to go, I'm picking up, because the one thing that we are not doing at the moment is creating spaces through the middle and running at defenders. So centre-backs are pushing us out to the wide and then occupying the centre spaces. And I would just like to see Emil Smith Rowe given the ball in that left eight, in that somewhere, anywhere, just bloody anywhere, run with the ball.
Break the line. Yeah.
Just go, I'm having, and like he did in the penalty area, dancing feet, his touch to move the ball past 2 defenders and then, all right, doesn't go in. But give him 3 of them and he'll score one. He's clinical in front of goal usually.
I tell you what, when he scores, next time Emil scores, the fan base is going to go insane.
Oh, and it'll be a winning goal as well. I mean, he basically, yeah.
I'm sitting there watching the Brentford game with my old neighbour is 65, and he comes over and watches every game. I've got him into football. He's never watched football in his life, but now he comes over and watches every game. And we're sitting there, and all I want is to see Smith Rowe or Havertz score.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for different reasons, for different reasons. One, I'd love Havertz to do something. I remember the first time I saw Emil Smith Rowe in a live game, and it was a dead kind of rubber Europa League game, but he came on. It was the Emery days, and it was people having conversations in a near half. It felt half full. The Emirates felt half full. No atmosphere of any kind. Game was a bit boring. But you know how sometimes just one player seems taller than the rest, or just better, like teachers play. One teacher in a club, there aren't enough kids, so the teacher stepped in and he's playing and he's taking it a bit too seriously. That's what Emil Smith Rowe. I had the same feeling with Bergkamp and Klinsmann when I first saw them, and that stays with you. And I really thought when nearly 3 years ago when Emil Smith broke through, and that game against Chelsea where he started him, and I just thought, this is it. He's going to kick on now. I watched him in the under-21s in the European competition. There's something about the way he plays football that ticks my boxes. I just love it.
2 seconds. There's somebody at the door.
Okay, and I will address the audience. Yes, I was in that gentleman's film. Well, Chalkers, you must send us a copy of that. I would like to air that. And Emmy will have a pie named after him soon. Yeah. Do you know what? What's going in that pie? Something that's regularly. I don't think he's injured that often. I think he's just had really bad luck. But Emil Smith Rowe could arguably be my favourite player. So when there was all this talk about him possibly going to Chelsea, really heartbreaking for me. I can't have it. Oh, he's back. Who was that then? Bailiffs? Oh no.
Nah, guitar strings, post.
Oh, guitar strings. Are you able to receive post in New Zealand, are you? That's fascinating.
Yeah,
I imagined you'd have to whittle them yourself out of an actual cat's guts or something.
Well, we are still receiving last year's newspapers. It is a bit of a time warp here.
I don't want to ruin it for you, but we beat Brentford.
Yeah.
But if you...
Back to Smith Rowe. So, is he going to be Jack Wilshere the second? I know you
No, because Jack Wilshere got injured for playing too much. The one thing I will say, I reckon Emil Smith Rowe will play till he's 40 at this rate because he's going to be perfectly fit. He's not, he had the one injury. He's cleared up. It's fine. He's fully fit. He's not.
When we look at Wilshere, he did it all to himself. The way he played, his flaring legs were always out. He did it all to himself, kind of Wilshere. The way he went in for tackles, the way he played.
Look, we talked about this. It was about 4 weeks ago now. Do you remember when there was a conversation and people were saying, is it because our training ground is too tough? Across the world of football now, look at Real Madrid have got injuries piling up. Militao's injured. Rudiger's injured. Look, everywhere you look in football, there's injuries. Young men in the peak of physical... Who? Fucking United. I'm talking about football. I'm not talking... I don't know what you're on about. United. Please. Do you know what I mean?
Got a list as well, haven't they? We all got lists.
Mate, just stop it. They've got a 40-man squad. It's like the revolving door that someone's jammed. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it only works one way. It's like,
Did you see that Phil Jones has come back in the training capacity now with the youth?
Yeah.
Mate,
what I will say is that the goal that Fernandes scored that was set up by Johnny Evans, how good was that pass? Like, I was like, maybe we should bring Steve Bolt back.
Well, that silenced a few people, didn't it, about Johnny Evans being included in the squad because he also got the first.
Do you know what? People are so like, this is kind of like everyone has to have an opinion in 5 seconds. You go to me, Johnny Evans, go, well, first of all, he wasn't brought in to play, but look, I think, Amrabat's going to save the day. Amrabat's looked decent. I can't lie. I mean, that was a bit of a surprise result for me that they had. How about the lineup? How about lineup for the League Cup? It's looking tasty, isn't it? City are out. Man United playing Newcastle, Chelsea and Blackburn. That could go either way. I have no idea. Bournemouth playing Liverpool, probably Liverpool. Everton, Burnley. I reckon it's going to be down. The last 8 would look something like Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Everton, Arsenal, Mansfield Town, Middlesbrough, and Fulham.
That'd be an interesting game for Declan Rice, won't it? Back to West Ham.
If he plays him.
Yeah.
If he plays him.
And I've also seen a few West Ham fans going, oh, the best thing that we could have ever done was get rid of Declan Rice. It's like...
it's like... Do you know when you meet people and you just kind of can't be bothered? It's like all the Tottenham fans going on now about, like, we're better without Harry Kane. Yeah, if you like, all right. You've beaten Bournemouth and Burnley, and you're doing brilliantly. Well done. 2-2 draw with Brentford, not that impressive in light of the fact that we just beat them with our B team. But, you came to the Emirates and you got a 2-2 draw out of us, so you must be about to win the league. And it's the same thing, isn't it? It's like West Ham fans going, they're riding their confidence. They're playing better. David Moyes has got his confidence back. They're still got absolutely shellacked by Man City. They're not, I don't think West Ham are going to be in Europe next season.
And I've got a friend who's a West Ham fan, and I said, you don't want to buy that James Ward-Prowse. I said, absolute crap. Well,
did you?
I said he's
Why
crap.
Did you say that? Why did you think it?
Yeah. I was like, he does nothing. I said he never breaks, he never runs at people, he never does anything. All he is a dead ball specialist. And I'm eating my words now, aren't I?
You said the same thing about Matt Letizia, did you?
No, I think Matt Letizia, I think, was absolutely amazing, even though he was frigging lazy.
Oh yeah, well, he wasn't lazy. He just didn't have. If he didn't need to do very much, did he? Just like I'll never forget that one where he flicked the ball up and volleyed it. I mean, some of his goals, his highlights reel, is hours of fun.
A few weeks back, I watched Matt Letizia highlights. He never scored a crap goal.
I don't remember one. No. I mean, did he ever miss a penalty? I think he missed one penalty in his life,
not
didn't
sure
he?
about that one. But I was looking at his goals. I'm like, did he ever score a tap in? No, all his goals were like.
Nah, I don't think so. But they were just ridiculous, like skill moves. I mean, that's what got us into football, isn't it? That's why I love Emile Smith Rowe, because the players. Look, I mean, if we're going through my favourite players in the Premier League history, Cantona's got to be in there. Gianfranco Zola's got to be in there. I'm not just doing our players because obviously I think Merson and Bergkamp, but the players that you like are the ones that do something you weren't expecting. The great thing about the kind of football we play at the moment is it's a team game, but it is all a little bit like pass to pass to pass to pass to pass to incisive pass, great finish.
Do you think
I'm missing?
Sorry, I was just going back. I was going back to Letizia again because it was in my head. It's like, do you think he was loyal to? He just wanted to be loyal to Southampton, or do you think he was just frigging lazy?
I mean, I don't think it's an either or. That I don't think it's just like. Listen, I mean, joking aside, actually, no, I'm always joking, so I can't do that. But he did make a living as an athlete. Look, I'm not saying that, but I'm not going to sit here with my beer gut hanging out and say Matt Letizia was lazy. Do you know what I mean? Like, because he would have. Yeah, I'm sure he, by the standards of modern professional footballers, hell yeah, right. But my first ever favourite player wasn't an Arsenal player because we had shit all good players in when I'm talking about. But Jan Molby at Liverpool.
Oh my God. I was just about... I'm annoyed. Are you reading my mind? Because that was the player I was about to mention. No word of a lie.
He was my favourite player as a kid. When you play with your mates in the park, I was always Jan Molby.
The thing is, he never left the flipping centre circle.
Didn't have to. But why? You don't have to. I mean, I used to just love it. Like if you watch Jan Molby now, it just looks like a completely different sport. People coming up to him and he's like, fuck off. Like, it's like massive. I'm probably not that physically different shape from him. Well, maybe, I'm being a bit ridiculous now. But say for all of us slightly fuller figured men, that's your man. What do you mean run? The ball travels quicker if I kick it than me running with it. But what are the best moments in football? Best goal in football ever scored, Diego Maradona. What's he doing? Running with the ball. Best goal scored against Tottenham, Thierry Henry. What did he do? He ran with the ball. I love it when players run with the ball. That's what I like.
It's gone though, hasn't it? A lot. That's not happening as much anymore. And then when you see somebody, you see Matoma. It's like a breath of fresh air, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't like Matoma?
No, listen, I'm really on the fence. I'm really, really on the fence because there was talk about him going to City, and I was like, really? Like his end product is a little bit Anthony for me. I love Brighton though, so I can't say I don't like him. And he every now and again he does pull. He's brilliant with the ball at his feet. He really is, but he's going to get. I don't think he's quite the artist. I don't think he's quite that. I thought Jadon Sancho in.
I think Matoma to City would be a seriously bad move for him.
I just don't see it happening. I couldn't see it. I don't think. I mean, no one knows football like Pep Guardiola. So if he does sign, I tell you what, though, talking about players who run with the ball is sick. But Doku, oh my God! Every time I watch him, I'm like, oh, he's good. And that is so Guardiola, isn't it? He's bloody well gone and signed. He loses a right-sided player in Mahrez, and he goes out and gets an arguably better version, younger version. I mean, obviously, he's got a way to go to have the reputation of Mahrez, but I really like the look of this kid.
He's a typical Pep player, isn't he? You can see it.
Mate, I don't know. He's got a lot about him. And he played that awesome game for Belgium I saw before he even got started at City in the last international break. Oh, I know everyone was talking about him, and you watch the highlights reel and you think, yeah, let's see if he can do it in the Premier League. Boy, can he. He has done so far. Although I do want to talk about City because I've stuck my neck right on the line at the start of this season and said I think City will struggle, but they haven't really, have they? But I do think that's masked their points tally is masking a deficiency which the game against Newcastle yesterday exposed. I think without De Bruyne and Haaland in the team, Alvarez, who's been brilliant in some games, and he's, it's just typical, isn't it? They've got Alvarez. When people are saying who would you have as a striker at Arsenal, can we have Alvarez?
I'd take him.
Of course you'd take him. He's one of the best players in the world. Who wouldn't take him? He'd get to Real Madrid's team. Like, who wouldn't have Alvarez? If you don't like Alvarez...
And sorry, Eddie, I'm just throwing you in for free.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those ones where...
And
hubcaps. Eddie's the hubcaps.
Yeah. But, going back to the Brentford game, and I've said it before, El Neni, we know what we get from him. It's simple. He plays safe, but he'll always put in a shift. I was really happy with the reception El Neni got.
Because you know what? And this is a good point, actually, you've brought us on to, because you and I are guilty of this. We take a lot, we will watch a match and we'll go online and we'll feel really good about it. And then we'll start getting like, that was shit, he was shit, I wouldn't have played him. And it just suddenly you start absorbing this from the social media. When I watched the game again, because as I keep telling everyone, Arsenal.com showed a full match. You can just log in and watch the whole match. So I watched Brentford. I'm not going to lie, the second half was a bit fast-forwarded because it wasn't fun the second time either. But the fans that go, the travelling away fans, singing their hearts out, giving Emil a round of applause, they behave exactly as I want Arsenal fans to behave. Sang that place out last night. Absolutely beautiful.
But
we've got Super Mick Arteta.
You saw El Neni when he came on the pitch. He was so flipping happy to be there, wasn't he?
Just love him. How could you not love him? I said this. Was it last week or the week before? Where people always chewing El Neni out. I go, God, when was the last time you had a bad game then?
Well, yeah, and even I've chewed him out a few times to you and well, and said, why is he there? But he very rarely puts the foot wrong. All right, he doesn't offer as much going forward, but he puts in a shift, and he did exactly what you expect from him for 20 minutes the other day. Yeah. He didn't put the foot wrong.
Well, this takes us back to where we started from, which is like, everyone's expecting us to play FIFA. Like we go out there and we've got Paris Saint-Germain settings and we go out and beat everyone 4-0 and, like, great. But actual football is a competition sport. And really, to get 3 points is usually more important to everyone than... Do you know when someone's on fire? I've just noticed a little star there. I can star this. Someone's on fire. Chalkers.
I see El Neni staying and joining the
managing Arsenal.
Somewhere. No.
Yeah.
But I see him joining the back room. I'm just going to leave it.
Do you think Arteta's going to stay? Do you think Arteta's going to stay forever? Do you think we'll end up? Let's have a prediction from you. I'll put a prediction on after you. You go first because it was my idea. How do you think that Arteta will be hounded out by the Arsenal fans?
I think that Arteta will not be sacked because from what I've seen, the Cronkies back their man and they seriously back them when they found somebody. But what I feel is he will resign. So, yes.
So will he be hounded out by the Arsenal fans?
Yes.
Isn't that sickening? Because it won't be the fans that were at the games. It will not be the fans. It won't be the quiet majority of fans who just are reasonable. Look, we all got pissed off after the North London derby. There's just no way to avoid it. I hate.
I know me and you. Like I said to you before, I'm about 70% convinced with Arteta, and you're like, well, I'm higher. But that's fine. But I don't want him to fail. I want him. I still see certain situations which I think, what are you doing, Arteta? But then I have to look into it about what he has achieved with us.
So go on then. Give us one of those situations where you were like, the last time you thought, what the bloody hell are you doing? Maybe some substitutions. Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
I'm going straight back to the North London derby, insulting bringing Smith Rowe on for 4 minutes in extra time. Things like that drive me mad.
Was weird, that one, isn't it? Like,
it's like if we want to change the game, Why are we doing things like that? Leaving these, and I get it. He's trying to ride with these players because he's giving, he's got confidence in who he's got on the pitch. But if we're going to change games, you usually need more than 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I can't. Unless he just wants him to touch the grass, or I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard for me to explain that unless you're trying to kill the game off with substitution.
No, I don't want Arteta out, and I think I would be a complete idiot if I couldn't accept and acknowledge what he has done to the culture of that club and what he's.
But there's plenty of them around, Scott. There's plenty of complete idiots around because I'm seeing it all the time. I'm seeing he doesn't know what he's doing. Same old faces, isn't it? Like, listen, this is good. Love Arteta, but occasionally he becomes Blofeld. Last Saturday selection was Blancmange. All right, go on then. But who would you have had in then? Because I'm looking at the lineup. I mean, I don't remember really hating on the selection. I mean, Fabio Vieira versus Kai Havertz. I got that one. Fabio Vieira was. I mean, Eddie up front. I think it was terrible. I mean, what?
Do you want to see Eddie up front in the next game?
No, of course not. Of course I don't. Like, I can't.
I want to.
I just did a video about how I don't want to see. I wish Eddie all the best. I love him. I expect him to do commentary in years to come, and I hope he has a great career. I'd love to see him do really well at Palace or West Ham or somewhere like that. And all of those good things, kind feelings. But we're on a journey to win the Premier League, and he ain't coming. We can't carry him to the Premier League.
That's the problem I have. I think that Eddie ghosts a lot of games.
Eddie, I said it. I was like, it was a horror show. It was a horror show, and I got people telling me off for it. It wasn't that bad. I was like, are you kidding me? He passed the ball 6 times, right? He gave the ball away 8 times. And he had the one shot, and it goes, you've got a striker who takes a shot. I'm like, I'm all for strikers taking a shot, but that's all he did in the whole game. And for me, I couldn't explain it, because if there's one thing that I think was wrong with the rest of the team is they were too fired up. And with Eddie and Fabio, it was like, is there a game on? Like, hang on a minute, they're walking everywhere. But I think you don't walk in a North London derby. No. You don't walk in a North London derby, because the minute you do that, that's me done with you. The thing is,
I can see with Eddie, he's getting frustrated, and I can see it, and he lashes out a little bit, doesn't he? Do you think?
Who? Eddie?
Eddie lashes out a bit on players. He gets a bit.
I wish he had. It looked to me like if he played like that in training, I don't think he'd be on the bus. It really pissed me off, because I've been saying this season, do you know what? I'm seeing green shoots I can see him improving. And on Saturday, he just ripped all that up, because you cannot have a game like that against Tottenham. You can't have a game like that against Tottenham. You can't have been at our academy since you were 12 years old and not know. I would forgive. See, the thing is, on the day, Tottenham had a bunch of players who don't really know what a North London derby is. Yeah. Maddison's not played. We had players in there as well. You can kind of think Kai Havertz probably, although he was at Chelsea, so he knows how important it is to beat Tottenham. We put out a team that knew what was at stake, that knew how important it was, and came out a little bit fired up, to say the least, except Eddie. And Eddie was, it was a horror show. It was the worst he's ever played. And look, I'm sorry, but like, when you've got a player who's never quite managed to get double figures, and he does that, and you just think
16 goals in the Premier League
in his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how many was that? 5 years? I think his top ever achievement is 5.
4.
4. Yeah.
But, I think,
it's all right. That's that conversation over then. And they're like, bye now, Eddie. Thanks for everything. Is there any other position you can play? Is there anything else you do?
I don't think we're doing Eddie a disservice when we say he'll jog on really good at Crystal Palace or West Ham or a team like that. It's like, at the end of the day, there's still Premier League teams.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he's shit. What I am saying is that Gunnosaurus has got a better chance of getting double figures than Eddie.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm only using Eddie's words against him. Eddie, in the All or Nothing documentary, says, how am I supposed to do it if I'm only getting a few minutes here or there? Give me 5 games in a row, and if I don't do it, it's on me. Last season, he had 5 games in a row. He didn't score after the Man United game, which was a cracking little game for him. You can't take it away from him, and nothing after that. He had 5 games, nothing after that. Fell apart pretty badly, and fair enough. It did for a lot of players. But Eddie, for me, I can't. It's not. I think the problem is it always becomes like it feels like I'm attacking him as a human being, and I'm absolutely not.
The next
I'm
game.
saying.
The next game, due to injuries, we're going to get Eddie again.
We've got no one else. I mean, what else do you want to do? I mean, Cozy Dewberry, I'd give a shout to now. Just why not? Just try something unusual. And see, all the smart people today, our Chalkers is saying don't need the geezer from Brentford either. And I'm assuming he means Ivan Quintoni. Who I don't.
I can't believe it.
See, all the smart people are on one side and join us. What do you want? Why do you like him? Why do you like him? All he does is score, rubbish goals and penalties. Listen, I don't rate him, but I don't want to swap. He's got not what?
He's got a nice tattoo.
I thought that's what you said. Oh well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll change my mind then. Ivan Toenail.
No. What? No. Come on. No.
Come on, I haven't heard that. That's good. He's not everything we need. We need Victor Osimhen. Or, as I said in my video, and I did a lot of very in-depth research and analysis for that. And Jonathan David at Lille, I would take. Karim Konate, he's a bit. Vlahovic, Makoku at Build, Dortmund, and
the problem with Vlahovic is
forget Vlahovic. Vlahovic is it reminds me of Carroll. He'll be good. He's a lump. Nah, sod him. Although he's playing quite well this season, I can't see him ever coming to us.
Here's one for you then: is Eddie better than Francis Jeffers?
Right, I'm going to look that up. No, hang on. That's a really good point because do you know what? Maybe if I look at what if Franny scored more goals than
didn't Francis?
In my mind, it's
probably similar. Didn't Jeffers end up in Australia in the end?
Well, Franny Jeffers talks about it in an interview I watched or heard him saying, basically what happened was I arrived in London, thought I'd made it, and oh yeah, all right. So Franny Jeffers' record is it's a little bit worse. Yeah, he ever scored 4 league goals in 3 years for us.
What's his overall record?
His overall record is he did end up in Australia, was it? His overall record is 40 and 235. But he scored 18 of those in Everton with 4 years in Everton. So, but as a youth player, he was phenomenal. He scored 6 in a game that Michael Owen was playing, and he ended up at Accrington Stanley. How
the thing is, Francis Jeffers had so much potential.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Accrington Stanley. Do you remember that advert?
Yeah. And the thing is, when
my dad says if I drink all my.
I was excited when we got Francis Jeffers.
We need Ted Breakback. Were you really? What was going wrong in your life that excited you? Do you know what I mean? Like, no, it wasn't exciting. It wasn't. But it wasn't. Did he come in that window where we seemed to sign like 7 players?
That he came in when we got Richard Wright in a moto.
Oh,
Franny Jeffers.
Oh yeah.
He came at the same time then.
Arsene Wenger's best ever transfer window, and then I'd have to look that up. No, but Franny Jeffers, all right.
I actually liked Richard Wright.
You what?
I liked Richard Wright. I thought he was a good keeper.
Yeah, it's not. Didn't we get him from Ipswich, or did he go to Ipswich? I can't remember now.
No, we got him from Ipswich, and after that, didn't he go to Everton?
No, maybe one way or the other. Chalkers is off. Thank you for your input. Absolutely world class again. Thank you, Chalkers. Speak to you soon.
Thanks, mate. Good comments.
Brilliant comments. He's kept us going, man.
Richard Wright's at Man City, isn't he?
Is he?
Yes, he works for Pep.
What's he do now? Does he?
Yeah.
Is he a chauffeur or something? Richard Wright. See, I don't know. It wouldn't occur to me to know this sort of stuff.
I think he's Chef Mike. He just controls the microwave. Pies. No.
Richard Wright, footballer, currently. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, Man City goalkeeper Richard Wright. Richard Wright is an English football coach and former friend. Yeah, he's a coach, yeah. He's coaching some of the world's best. Bloody hell. Those who can do and those who can't teach.
And then I'd forgot about him. And then there was an article.
You saw him on the bench or something?
And it was basically when they just won the Champions League, and they goes, look at this old Arsenal player. No one knows who it is, and it was Richard Wright wearing a Man City shirt, celebrating with Pep.
Seaman spent a year up at City, didn't he?
He did, didn't he? Hey,
yeah.
Why was he never brought in as a goalkeeper coach?
We had Bob Wilson for the longest time, and I don't think it was that long. I don't think David Seaman is a coach, though. I don't think he's done his badges or ever tried to be a coach. I think he's come in and he's definitely...
He's had a few chats with
him. He's helped out.
Yeah, because I know there was a bit of... I know he's been there around. He's been around Hale, and I've seen him having chats with the goalies and things. But I always thought it would have been something we could have brought in because safe hands.
I don't think he's bothered. I don't know if he's bothered. He does his speaking engagements. I don't think he's one of them. I don't think. Listen, I think it for. I would love to be a football. Well, actually, I wouldn't, or I'd have gone anywhere near trying it. But I just don't think it's for everyone. I tell you, it's a hard life as well.
What I've noticed about Seaman, he has his YouTube channel. It's criminal.
I love it.
Yeah, but it's criminal the few views he gets sometimes.
What are you talking? Look how few we get, and he's come on. No, but it's look. Don't judge him now because he's only just started it. You watch, you'll have like 500. You'll have 150,000 subscribers, and
he deserves to.
I loved it. That was one of the best interviews. I mean, Thierry Henry does do quite a lot of interviews. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I saw him talking earlier today. He was talking. I think if you want to listen to someone who talks well about football, it's Thierry Henry. And there are some players that never give interviews. Dennis Bergkamp, you have to prize out of himself.
Last time I saw an interview with Dennis Bergkamp, it was the Ian Wright one when he went to his house.
Oh yeah. See, I mean, it takes Ian Wright to turn up at your house and go, "Come on, Dennis, let's have a chat." Love Ian Wright.
The bit when he's on a go-kart.
Did you see that? Actually, you reminded me. It's a bit off topic, but there was a thing by Gary Lewin. You remember our physio, and then left to go to England. Like Gary Lewin was the only physio I remember. I couldn't tell you the names of any others. And he did this piece. It was really funny. It was like almost like a quiz question. I'm going to put it out there, see if you get this one. Gary Lewin said we bought a player for around 5 million that we knew only had 3 or 4 years left in him because of the degenerating knee issue, but we managed to sell him for 25 million. Who do you think it was? Because I got it straight away. Because who's got 2 thumbs and is smart as hell? This guy.
What year are we looking at? What year?
I didn't get any clues. What are you on about clues for? You either know or you don't know. First of all. I should also add, there's a bit of information I've left out. He only lasted 18 months after we sold him. But that's not quite true because he retired and then came back. Bought for about 5 million. I think it was actually 7 million.
I honestly can't remember.
I'll give you a clue. When we signed him, a guy at work who was a fan of another club, and I can't remember who, said to me, well, he's lost a yard of pace, And I was like, well, he's still 2 yards faster than everyone else.
I feel like a right prat now.
Former sporting director of Ajax.
Overmars.
Mark Overmars. When we bought Mark Overmars, Gary Lewin says we knew We did that. We had the report. They said this guy's got maybe 3 or 4 years left in him. He comes to Arsenal, wins us the double, plays a blinder, gets us to within a whisker of a couple more titles, and gets sold off to Barcelona for £20 million profit or £18 million profit. And he really didn't last much more time at Barcelona. So I just thought that was really interesting because it was one of those ones where he doesn't name Overmars in the piece because he says he doesn't want to name him. But I was like, it's obvious who it is. There's only one player it can be. There's no other player that retired 2 years after being sold for 25 million. We haven't sold that many players for 25 million. Most we've ever got out of anyone is 40 million. Thank you, Oxlade.
For a while, and because it's Oxley, Iwobi, and Balogun now, isn't it?
No, Balogun just came under, didn't he? Balogun was under, annoyingly. He would have been our record ever transfer fee.
On a whole, though, we never sell players for a big fee, do we?
No, we suck at selling players, genuinely. But then I'm glad about that now because we could, if we suddenly needed to drum up 100 million quid, we've got about 5 players you'd get that for.
Yeah.
Eddie Nketiah probably wouldn't get you that, and I think that's quite telling.
I know. I've looked on the transfer market, the prices and things, and it looks like all our players have increased in value, like Jesus and everything.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Although Jesus probably not as much as some of the others, because I still don't think anyone wants him as their star striker.
That's the thing with Jesus. Technically, he's amazing, and what he does, he unlocks defences for us. But I just wish he could be the end product. He could score.
That miss,
at
the North London derby, I forgive that, but Bergkamp puts that away.
The thing is, he gets in so many goal scoring situations.
He needs a guy around him that can finish. I mean, for fuck's sakes, if Eddie, it just needs to. Oh, anyway,
it's not Eddie.
It ain't Eddie. But if you looked at what we'd get for Martinelli, what we'd get for Odegaard, what we'd get for Saka, obviously Declan Rice, Saliba. I think Saliba's pushing 100 million. I'd love to see somebody try and offer less than that. I might have run out of steam there with that. Kai Havertz.
I talked to somebody the other day, and they're like, Saka will stay with us forever, and I'm like, all players leave in the end pretty much. You never usually get a one player, one club. And I do see Saka one day going to a team like Madrid. Can you blame him though?
Yeah. What are you talking about? Yes, I can blame him. Don't do that. Don't even talk about it. I spend all my time trying to manifest Emil Smith-Rowe scoring the winner in the Champions League, and you're doing this to me.
Yeah. I don't mean now.
Don't mean ever. Don't mean it. Don't say it. Don't think it. Like, we don't know. Saka is what? Like, Saka is the chosen one. He is the star boy. He's racing down the what? No, I don't see him leaving. I won't let him leave.
So if we're offered 180 million for Saka,
stop it with your paychecks. Like, what are you going to do with the money? What are you going to do with the money? How are you going to spend the money? Who are you going to buy? Who's better than Saka? In his position, who plays better than Saka? Give me one player.
Well, Vinicius Junior is a lefty, isn't he? He's on the left.
Play
on the left.
Vinicius Junior is not as good as Saka. Next.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Spinning top.
Anthony who? Anthony who? Yeah. Anthony Costa from Blue. Anthony what? Anthony Quinn? No.
Yeah. No. No. He is at the top of his game, isn't he? And he's got. Well, the thing is, he's not even reached his level yet.
22, man. Like, he just blows the mind. But no, Saka means so much more to it. Saka's so much more than just a wonderful footballer. He's an Arsenal number 7. I'm talking about Liam Brady. I'm talking about the 7s, Rocky Rocastle. Saka is the reincarnation of Rocky Rocastle.
Saka would walk into any team in the world.
Yeah, literally. If Stan Kroenke suddenly found out he owed the IRS $100 billion or something, I don't know. It's not even possible. He's married to a Walmart heiress, so he could probably buy the US government. But if there was any way that he's suddenly developed a bad Paul Merson style gambling habit and lost all his money and needed to drum up 100 million, 200 million quickly, he could just do one quick blog post going, I'm thinking of selling Saka, and who's not picking up that phone?
You see, I remember saying to you a bit back, I goes, well, I'd sell Odegaard for 160 million and buy Jude Bellingham, remember?
Yeah,
you should like that.
You
should like that.
Listen, no, that's a tough one. It is a tough one. I think, much as I love, how I feel about Jude Bellingham, I think he could be up there with Maradona and Pele and spoken about in those terms. I genuinely would find it difficult to not accept a deal. But I tell you what, hands off Saka. Hands off Saka. I wouldn't swap Saka for Jude Bellingham, which is as close as I get to a religious statement. I can't envisage. I don't ever want to think about Saka leaving.
But if we sell Odegaard, we're bringing Jude Bellingham. That would be good for you, mate, because it'd free up that place back for Smith Rowe. I'm thinking about you. You see.
How's it free up a place for? Where are you going to play? What? How does it free up a place for Smith Rowe? I've lost the plot a bit. Because you're taking one player out, you're putting another player in, and what is Smith Rowe's going to run around on his back?
As in, we get rid of Odegaard, then basically we've got Smith Rowe playing his position.
But you've bought Jude Bellingham. Where's he going to play?
Well,
Scott, I don't think you've thought this one through.
We're then going to get rid of Rice and yeah.
Well, listen, I could tolerate losing Havertz. I'm okay with losing Havertz and bringing him, but listen, I think on a level, the criticism
Havertz, but what do you want to see in the next month going forward? I'm looking at the fixtures.
We have to be looking ahead to the Man City game. All right, we have to be, and it's becoming like if the whole team is fit, and I'm not saying I think they will be, although there is good news. Partey looks like he'll be available for that game. Everyone who's currently injured, with the exception of Timber, looks like they're going to be fit for the City game. Meanwhile, Rodri's not playing in that game, and no Rodri and no De Bruyne, no Gundogan. Come on, man! Like, this is not the same City team. They are. If we can't beat them now, we are done in the league. Maybe we already are anyway. But looking ahead to that game, who do I want to start? And I know I'm a broken record, right? But for me, it isn't Vieira. It isn't Kai Havertz. There's one person I would play in that midfield to cause a bit of terror at four centre-backs, running at four centre-backs with the ball. Smith Rowe. Because you know what? Like, what those defenders at City are brilliant at is shepherding us out wide, forcing us to try and cut back the ball, cutting it off before it gets to anyone, presenting a wall. Do you know what I don't think they would be great at? And I haven't seen enough of Guardiola to know this for sure. But give Emil Smith Rowe the ball and have him run at them.
Yeah.
I think the future of beating City is about running at them.
That's the thing. People are too like, this is City, we've got no chance. They don't back themselves, do they?
You need something. You need like a spark. You need the kind of shit that Pep's been doing at City. You need the Sterlings, the Mahrezes. You need Doku's. Look how he employs Doku. Doku gets the ball out. I mean, we do it on the wide as well. But where I'm getting really frustrated with us, if you looked at the heat map, the average positions of the game against Brentford last night, half a team on the right-hand side, half a team on the left-hand side. We are not playing through the middle at all. And for me, I don't really get it, because you'd think, I mean, Jorginho was kind of central, but I'd have him shifted over to the right a little bit and I'd stick Emil Smith. I mean, I think Kai Havertz is getting lost in trying to find space. Yeah. Never mind finding space. How about get the ball and then find some space? If we're constantly going to have 5 or 6 forwards trying to run into space to receive the ball, how about one of you take the ball from where you are, run at two players. Because who was in that Brentford back line that wanted someone running at them? No one, and we weren't doing it against City. I know it's not going to happen. I would be highly inclined to have Declan Rice, Odegaard, and Emil Smith Rowe, with Martinelli and Saka and Jesus.
Is Martinelli fit for it? Do we know?
Yeah, apparently. We're expecting all three of Martinelli, Trossard, and Rice to be fit for it.
If Eddie's leading the line against Man City, I just don't know.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, I hate to be all negative.
Stop it. Like that's oh God. Mind you, look, what are the odds? I've made my mind up, right? I think that hopefully that's been abundantly clear, right? I think the world knows where we stand on Eddie now, right, Scott? Like, last chance to change your mind. Gonna score 20 goals in the season. No, he's not. No. Right? So he's never gonna do it. So I tell you what, actually, this might be a nutty thing to say, but I did say it in a video earlier in the week. Edouard, the Palace forward.
Yeah.
I think he's as good as Eddie at least. But this is my point. This is why I suddenly thought of it. When Palace go to City, you don't expect them to score either. You do just need a team performance against City. We need to really... fair enough, we're playing them at home, so we ought to be able to do this. But not with Eddie up front. Eddie... my point after North London Derby is I really felt like the fans were our 12th man, except that our 10th man didn't turn up. So we ended up with 11 men again. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, if Eddie and Fabio are not going to turn up, and Fabio Vieira, flat as to deceive. I know that he's had some great moments. I love his relationship with Martinelli.
I think he was getting kicked about a bit in the North London Derby.
He looks a bit uninterested. He looked more uninterested to me in that performance than Kai Havertz has ever done. But it's this funny thing, isn't it? This time last season, it was Fabio Vieira is not very good, and he didn't play him that much. What he's done with Kai is he's dropped him right in it, because before the guys were... There's a truism about, look at Grealish at City, look at Calvin Phillips at City, look at when they get to City, all these players... there's loads of... John Stones said it. He said, when I arrived to play for Pep, I honestly thought I knew about football. And then I realised very quickly I don't know anything about football. And it took me a year.
With Phillips, he's never going to break into that team.
Well, he has now. He started yesterday. You see Pep Guardiola... Well, I know, but Pep Guardiola's saying I've not got the best out of Phillips yet. It's my fault. Which is a classic Pep way of going... Yeah, shit.
Yeah,
it's like that when you're firing someone and go, I don't know how we're going to do this without you, but as of Monday, we're going to have a go.
Yeah, I don't see much of a future for Phillips at City.
Nah, of course not. And I'm surprised he didn't leave in summer. I think it just came down to they didn't get the defensive midfielder they wanted. But I don't know.
I could see him doing well at West Ham. Somebody like that again.
I definitely. I think as to lining up against City, that he's probably going to be in their starting lineup, right?
If we ain't got Rice, we're probably going to have Jorginho. If Rice is
Rice is going to be fit. They reckon Rice is going to be fit. They reckon, that's what I'm saying. There are no injury worries. Even Thomas Partey should be back for the City game.
Yeah.
So think about that. If you've got a full team to pick from. I'm going to do it now. Hang on. Did I bring a pen with me? Yes, I did. Yes. Hold that thought. I have a pen.
Would you play Partey and Rice? Yeah.
I think I might do. Yes, I think I might do. A Muller Partey Rice, yeah. A Partey Rice. It does sound like one of those Muller treats that you'd buy where the flips over and some fancy coloured... You know what I mean? In goal, I play... What? Against City? Yeah, I play Raya in goal.
Yeah.
I do love Ramsdale, but don't make me... Do you know what I mean? Seriously.
It is what it is.
His save, Ramsdale's save. I love that there's these two keepers and you're like... One's one does this elastic David Seaman type save against Tottenham, and then yesterday I thought that was a better save yesterday from Rambo than
when he flicked it onto the post.
Oh, how he got down so quick for that? He looked pumped. So, anyways, Raya, White, Zinchenko, Saliba. At least we know who our back five is, right? Or back four. We don't know who the keeper's going to be.
Yeah.
So Saliba and Gabriel. So,
but
I'm using,
would he risk party back into that game straight away?
I would love to see a 6 and an 8 double pivot. Forget all this inverting bullshit. If Zinchenko inverts and Declan Rice can bomb forward, until that he doesn't move. And then I would put
if Zinchenko hurts, I see issues against City.
I don't know. This is me. Look. That's how I play it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I would be doing, because I think, like I said, you can still invert, and he can form. It's this bloody box, isn't it, that everyone's always telling me we need. This box here in midfield, which we just haven't had this season. We haven't had that. We haven't had it.
Surprised you didn't bring out a Sabutio table.
I don't have one.
Do you remember Sabutio?
You made me feel bad now, mate. I did a funny. I was going to do this spoof film of The Shining, and it was called The Tottering. And it basically, I took all of the scenes out of The Shining and I refaced them with, I've forgotten his name now. Who was the caretaker manager? Because I did this whole thing for Spurs. Mason?
Oh, the young lad. Yeah, well, they always call him.
Yeah. And I did him. I'll send you some of the rushes from it. It was quite funny. But there was one scene, where he goes to it, and it's the map of the, or it's the overview of the maze.
Yeah.
And I changed it to a Sabutio table. So he's standing looking at the Sabutio table.
Oh, yeah, I want to see that.
Mate, I've never finished it because I was like, it was such a labour of passion. It took so much time. And then I was like, this joke, I did a trailer for it, released a trailer, and it didn't do that well. And I was like, I don't think people are ready for my humour.
Did you see the video I sent you by James and Jess talking about the Havertz situation?
Oh, I saw it and I didn't watch it. No.
Of course you didn't watch it.
Well, do you know what? Like, do I not watch enough stuff?
But honestly, I actually think, because you like James, don't you? Yeah.
James B.
James B.
Yeah. Tactical dude. I haven't watched the tactical breakdown of the NLD yet either. Well, Northern Derby.
That video I sent you, he says it's for him and Jess, and they're talking about what do we do with Havertz, and they've just done a video last night, and it's what do we do with Eddie, and I think you'll find them quite interesting because they're very they're very like they take it from a sensible. It's not just like these players are crap. They they look into it's good, and I think you'd enjoy that.
I definitely would. I know I would. The thing is, and I say this, not I'm sure everyone can kind of relate to this. There is so much content. You do wonder how you're ever going to get through it. I mean, I was able to listen to that audio book that I was raving about earlier. But I've crammed quite a lot of reading and listening into this week and writing.
Yeah. And
I just run out of time. And there's some like James B. He does the tactical analysis show on AFTV, which I really like. I thought after the Brentford game yesterday, I was getting on a bit over here, and I started watching it. And then you want to go and watch what so and so saying about it and what so and so saying about it, and you just I don't know how you're supposed to get it all in.
No, I actually like Mark. I like Mark Goldbridge's that football channel when he reviews other games. I actually think he's quite good at it. When he other games, well, and I often like to see his Man United meltdowns. They're always
shut the door! Oh no, shut the door! It's like he's got a toddler sleeping next door. What is that voice? It's like he's a parody of himself. It's like if Alan Partridge.
It is Alan Partridge / David Brent.
Yeah. Oh no! Go away! Go away! And you're like,
"Hey, go away!" And did you see? I watched his watchbacks in the last England game when Harry Maguire scored the own goal, and he's watching it and he's going, Oh no! Did you watch it?
Harry Maguire. No, I didn't see that,
It's
but I
hilarious.
can imagine that.
Yeah,
Because
it's
but
hilarious.
did you see that one where they've clipped him together in the beginning, going, Harry Maguire's a great player. He's blah blah blah. He's really good, and then it's got every time after that, and you're like, we're all guilty of that.
I was watching that clip in Harry Maguire's out, and he's just looking at himself, going, "Oh no, really? He's done it again." Hey, I'm gonna have to cruise down because I've got an appointment.
I just thought, me too. Absolute pleasure as always.
Awesome,
right?
mate.
Let's. Well, hopefully, I'd like to do another one before next Thursday. So let me know when you're free and see if we can fit another one in because there's much to talk about, and I enjoy this.
Oh, yeah.
Probably the best bit of content making. So,
and at the end of the day, get more lives out there. Hopefully, it builds it for you, mate, isn't it?
Listen, every week there's someone comes out, and I know I get comments afterwards from top people that watch this. I know for a fact that Ian Wright watches us.
Oh, of course.
And
I think
Dennis Bergkamp, he never misses a show. He tends to watch it in replay.
I heard
and Pep watches. Pep gets a lot of tactical insight from what we're talking about. You know that. That's why I try not to give away too many tactics. Listen, till I see you again, Scott, and I can't wait to see you again. Till I see you again, be lucky.
Be lucky. See you, mate.
See you later. It's always this bit where I hit end stream.